Welcome to Book Buddy. The Power of Corn by Julian Stone. The cornfield stretches as far as you can see. Tall green stalks stand straight as columns in perfect rows. Rich green leaves are rustling in the late summer breeze. This same scene can be found in Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Indiana, and a number of other states. Corn is one of Americans' most important products. Corn is also one of the oldest crops in America. Corn fed Native Americans, and they shared it with the first settlers. Corn fed pioneers and their cattle and pigs. Its use as animal food created great livestock industries to supply growing cities across the United States. A bushel of corn weighs 56 pounds. An acre is about the size of a football field. An acre grows between 140 and 180 bushels of shelled corn. Today, corn is more important than ever. About 80 million acres of corn are grown every year in the United States. Farmers pick about 9 billion bushels. That's more than twice as much as any other grain crop. Americans use a lot of it too. People make things from corn that you never imagined. More than 3,000 different products come from corn. Of course, you can eat corn just as it is, but there is corn in other things you eat. Peanut butter, salad dressings, bakery goods, baby food, baking powder, margarine, soup, and many other foods have corn products in them. You also drink corn. Fruit juices and soda pop use corn syrup to make them sweet. Some new types of tires are made from corn. Corn may be in the glue that binds the book you are reading. Ethanol is a type of fuel made from corn. Corn was not always the plant that it is today. More than 7,000 years ago, Native Americans ate grains of plant called maize. Maize was different from today's corn. Maize plants were shorter. The grains were smaller. Early farmers saved the best and biggest grains to plant each year. Over many hundreds of years, the plants and grains got bigger and became the corn we know today. When Europeans arrived in America, they never seen maize. Native Americans showed them how to grow it. Settlers quickly came to depend upon it. Over the years, farmers kept learning how to grow more and better corn. They learned how to create bigger kinds. They learned how to make it grow faster. They learned how to grow more per acre. Machines helped them plant and harvest corn. Today's corn may look different from the earliest kinds, but it still needs water, good soil, and good weather. It still starts as a small kernel. New corn plants grow from corn kernels. A kernel of corn contains the food supply for the plant to get started. The kernel, which is the seed, is planted about 2 inches deep. The kernel soaks up water, swells, and bursts. Then The roots begin to grow downward. The roots absorb water and food for the plant. Next, the corn plant sprouts above ground. A single stalk appears. Inside this stalk, the shoot will soon grow. The shoot is part of the plant that will eventually become the ear. For now, the stalk protects the shoot. Later, the stalk will grow as many as 15 leaves in a circular pattern around the plant. The plant begins to grow rapidly. More rounds of growth take place. You can see each round of leaves on the corn stalk. Each round is called a collar. From each collar, more leaves grow. The leaves absorb sunlight and air to help the plant make its own food. As the corn grows, some of the lower leaves may drop off. The roots are growing too. Some roots grow down into the soil. They pull up water and minerals. Some strong roots come up above ground. The corn plant grows taller and stronger in the summer sun. As it grows, it begins to make a tassel on top. It also makes small husks which protect the ears of corn as they grow. After about 2 months, the corn plant is ready to make kernels on the ear. Fine strings called silks grow from the husks. Particles of pollen from the tassels of other corn plants fall on the silks. The pollen may drift there in the wind, or it may be carried by birds or insects. Once pollen lands on the silks, the kernels begin to grow inside the husk. It takes another 2 months or so for the kernels to finish growing. Today's machines make harvesting or picking corn easier. Machines called combines cut the stalk and pull the ear from the plant. Then they strip the husk from each ear. Most corn is removed from the cob before it is used. The stalks, husks, and cobs go back on the field. They slowly dissolve into the soil and make the soil healthier. The kernels go into a tank until they are unloaded into a truck. What happens to corn next depends on what is to be made from it. Most corn becomes food for livestock. Cattle, pigs, sheep, chickens, ducks, turkeys, and even fish are fed corn as they grow. Other corn is ground and goes into the thousands of corn products you use. Dry milling is simply grinding the shelled corn. The ground corn can then be used many ways. Wet milling soaks the corn first to break down separate parts of the corn for use in different goods. There are 4 main kinds of corn. Sweet corn is the kind you eat. It must be picked as soon as it is ready. Some is removed from the cob for canned and frozen corn. Some is left on the cob to be enjoyed that way. Flint corn is sometimes called Indian corn. Its kernels come in many colors. It is often used for decorations. Field corn is used for feeding animals and making products. It is dry and hard, and it can stay in the field a long time. Popcorn is one kind of flint corn. When it is heated, the water in the soft center turns to steam. When the steam builds up enough pressure, it pops. In many ways, the story of our country is the story of corn. It was here with the first people. It helped those who came later. Growing it became a way of life in many parts of the land. It feeds people, and many people enjoy eating it. Today, corn is still very important to the United States and much of the rest of the world. New uses for corn arise every day. Of course, most people's favorite use for corn is enjoying it on the cob on a summer afternoon.